Hello, this is my plyometric training program, and my client is Taylor Hopkins. She's a D1 athlete here at the University of Tulsa. She's on the rowing team. She's my teammate, and her training goal for so we were talking, and she was like, I would like to increase my vertical jump just like for fun, and to kind of see how explosive she can get vertically, even though it's not super sport specific. So this goal would require her to train her lower body plyometrics, a little bit of explosive upper body, like a little bit of core in there, but it's mainly going to be that that lower body explosiveness. As a D1 rower, she trains in pretty much every energy system. You get a lot of aerobic and glycolytic, but for this goal, it'd be more ATPPC or the phosphagen system. So we train in that a little bit. So it's nothing crazy new. Common injuries for vertical jump training include ankle sprain, shin splints, stress fractures, and plantar fasciitis. So when creating a training plan for her, in some pre-testing stuff, we would look at her landing technique and just her familiarity with the movements. We would go through each exercise that I wanted her to perform step by step to make sure she knew what she was doing so she wouldn't get injured, and that we would have the most successful training plan as possible. Because we don't want her to get injured for rowing, because obviously this is a side goal of hers. But she, as for her background, obviously, I've mentioned, she's a D1 rower, so she's already very explosive, but she also has, she's also used to be a competitive figure skater and still figure skates in her free time, so she's got a lot of good body, control and finesse, but she understands movement patterns and has good control of her body. And she has really good control and skill, as well as that explosive power, which makes her a very well-rounded athlete. So I would, because she doesn't particularly do training for vertical jump stuff, one might consider her a beginner, but I kind of went for more of that beginner to intermediate, simply because for rowing we do some plyometric training, so she's not unfamiliar with the style. So I've given her a lot of low to medium intensity stuff, and as the weeks progress, she'll be doing a little bit more volume, and we don't really want to do too much high intensity stuff. But she currently has a vertical jump of 11 inches, and she wants to improve to 15 in this 4-week program, which is, for a beginner or intermediate beginner, I think that's a completely reasonable time frame. Because she's already doing rowing training, and we're not necessarily in season, but we are training 20 hours a week, roughly, maybe less. But we only really want to be doing 1 to 2 plyometric training sessions per week. In week 1, I only have 1, just to kind of assess the movement patterns and do all that stuff. But they'll be done on days where we do extra supplemental cardio. So typically she'll be doing on Monday and Friday a 55-minute bike, so that will function as part of her warm-up to get her heart rate going and her legs moving, so she's not completely cold when we're going into this plyometric training. But that way we're not doing it on days where she's resistance training, so it would be a Monday bike and plyometric, Tuesday weights, Wednesday nothing extra. We'll be doing a morning practice, a morning workout every single one of these days, and then Thursday we'll have weights, and then Friday she'll have her bike, and then we'll do the plyometric, and then that way it's kind of evenly distributed, so she's not having too much volume on one day. So for her 4-week plan, the warm-up's going to be pretty much the same for each day. So it's the 55-minute bike, and I have her doing double leg hops by 10, single leg hops by 10, sagittal hops by 10, transverse hops by 10, and jump squats. These are exercises that we do in weights, and I find them super useful for getting my coordination going, because you're having to focus on where your feet are landing and kind of pushing off and focusing on the ankle and the core stability. So I really like this warm-up. And I've talked to her and she enjoys that one as well. So, and because we're already doing that 55-minute bike, we don't have to do too much to get the heart rate super elevated, because it should still be elevated and continue to elevate during the hops. So for week 1 on Monday, we have a double leg box jump 3x5, split squat jump 2x5, and broad jump 2x5, and it's just going to be those 3 exercises. We're going to be doing, because it's week 1 and she's kind of a beginner, she's not necessarily doing 100% intensity on each of these. I would consider, like, especially like week 1, more of like a 50% range. But we're gonna kind of go to that like 1 to 5 work to rest ratio, like maybe a little bit longer, like if she feels uncomfortable. But as we progress throughout and we're kind of moving into that like 50% to like 70% range, we're gonna increase the rest just a little bit. But for week 2, we're doing double leg box jump, again 3x5, split squat jump 3x6 instead of 2x5, so we're increasing the volume there. And then the broad jump is 2x6 instead of 2x5, so we're increase the volume a little bit there, just because it's Monday. She should be feeling fresh, because we only did a training session 1 week prior, so she should be okay. We're kind of looking at that like 50 to 60% range, effort range on these days, like of like a maximum like full jump. For the Friday workout, we have a vertical, so we're going to be doing some different exercises on the Fridays. Vertical medicine ball throws to really work on the upper body explosiveness, to throw her ball overhead, and whenever she's doing her vertical jump, she's using her arms. So we got 2x5 on that, because we're going back to haven't done this exercise with much. Mountain climbers 3x8, really working on that like explosiveness, and it's more of like a core workout to kind of get the heart rate up as well. And I find that mountain climbers really help improve coordination. So, and then we got seated box jumps 3x5, and power skips 2x4 each, or maybe like a 10-15 meter bound, just whichever one is more available. And this one we're gonna kind of probably do a 50% effort, because it's the first time that we're seeing it. For week 3, we have Monday double leg box jump 3x5, split squat jump 3x6, broad jump 3x6, so we haven't upped anything there. But on Friday we have vertical medicine ball throw 3x5, mountain climbers 3x8, seated box jump 3x5, and power skips 3x5 instead of 2x4. So we're going to increase that again, just getting that explosiveness and that bounding power. And that one's going to be more of a 60% and up range if she's feeling good. And then for week 4, very similar, except we've added an exercise on Monday and an exercise on Friday to kind of finish off that week, the final week of the plan. Double leg box jump 3x5, split squat jump 3x6, broad jump 3x6, single leg push-offs 2x5, keeping that one a little bit lower. If the training plan was longer, then the next week, we would see an increase there. And then for Friday, vertical medicine ball throw, mountain climber, seated box jump, power skips, and drop freezes to work on that landing technique, just to kind of finalize some technique there. So even though we know that she's got pretty good coordination as it is, and we would increase to maybe like 70% of like intensity on those. And for each of the rests, like if it was 60%, it'd be 1 to 6, 50, 1 to 5, and yeah, that's the training plan.